Continuing from the previous episode 1585. Whoosh! Finally, the 4-star Do Xian early stage. Suddenly, as the pink space returned to normal, Xiao Yan smiled contentedly. Today's self, relying on the strength of the 4-star Do Xian early stage and the power of flames, is extremely easy to deal with the general middle stage 4-star Do Xian, and even some powerhouses in the late 4-star Do Xian are not a problem. As for the wood attribute fighting skills that Xiao Yan just displayed, it is a scroll he obtained before. Xiao Yan has learned it a long time ago, but he did not use it to hide it. 4-star Dushan Perfection Powerhouse. Now, in the early stage of the 4-star Fighting Immortal, coupled with the mysterious effect of the Swallowing Flame technique, I can temporarily reach the peak of the late 4-star Fighting Immortal. If I fight against Ling Yu, I will also have the power to fight. Xiao Yan sensed the power in his body. Immediately laughed. Hey, little guy, is this enough? After the breath, the body of the Soul Eater floated directly out, and said with a smug smile. Teacher, what do you mean by this? Could it be that the disciples are trying hard to cultivate and are ready to throw some treasures for me at will? Seeing this, Xiao Yan couldn't help joking. Cough, what are you thinking? On the way of cultivation, you still have to rely on yourself to go step by step. The Master of Soul Eater heard the words, coughed to cover up his embarrassment, and immediately said solemnly. Quote. Xiao Yan felt helpless when he heard the words. Obviously, this Soul Eater is the master of a domain. How could he be so stingy? But, there are some things, I believe you will be interested. After a while, the Lord of Soul Eater said in a voice full of pride. What? When Xiao Yan heard the words, he suddenly became puzzled. Now, he has already swallowed the acacia fruit and Dushan pill. It seems that there is nothing here that will interest him. At best, it is the spirit of the acacia tree. The Lord and that guy didn't know each other, so Xiao Yan probably couldn't count on it. Summon your 2 holy flames and the great heavenly seed. Then look at your holy flame space. After a while, the Lord of Soul Eater smiled. Crash! When Xiao Yan heard the words, he seemed to have noticed something. The 2 holy flames and the great heavenly seed flames were directly exposed to the void. The khaki-colored fire heart heavenly rock and the cyan ghost-faced soul flames just appeared. However, after some battles, it was Ghostface and Soul Flame who had the upper hand. Obviously, the gap between the two was not a little bit. It's just a fight between gods and gods, I can't afford it. The holy flame space. Come out to me. The next moment, watching 3 flames emerge, Xiao Yan was trying to call out the holy flame space through the connection of his mind. Quote. As Xiao Yan's voice fell, there was only deathly silence in response to Xiao Yan. How is this going? The holy flame space, come out for me. Xiao Yan shouted in a hurry, but unfortunately, no matter how Xiao Yan opened his mouth, the holy flame space never appeared. Strange, I can clearly sense the sacred flame space in my body. Why can't I summon it? Could it be because of the acacia tree? Xiao Yan wondered. No, try again. After a while, the Lord of Soul Eater smiled. Come out for me, Xiao Yan immediately said anxiously when he heard this. In a short while, a devouring force emerged in Xiao Yan's body, and immediately devoured every trace of holy flame in Xiao Yan's body. Boom! Not knowing whether he was provoked or threatened, in this pink space, a khaki-colored barrier suddenly appeared all over Xiao Yan's body. And this khaki-colored special space similar to the enchantment just emerged, and suddenly a very strong sense of danger emerged quietly. Shabu shabu! This barrier filled with khaki flames had just emerged, and Xiao Yan suddenly realized that he actually had absolute control, and suddenly questioned in disbelief. This is a barrier? Xiao Yan said in disbelief. The enchantment is a method used by some strong people, which can temporarily cover a certain space, so as to achieve the point of killing people silently. Bastard! This is the domain! Suddenly, an angry voice suddenly emerged. Domain? Xiao Yan heard the words, his pupils shrank tightly, and a shock appeared in his heart. Although this is not your real field, it is enough. After you cast the domain, your power is favored and blessed by the domain, and the enemy's power is restricted and suppressed by the domain. It can be said without hesitation that you, at this time, are afraid that under the 5-star Do Xian, unless there are very few abnormal existences, otherwise it is invincible. The Soul Eater said with a smile. I remember you said, Teacher, that the realm is divided into the prototype of the realm, the half-realm and the real realm. I don't know what level 1 belonged to. Xiaoyan said with great joy. It should belong to a half-field, and the prototype of your field is the holy flame space of Huoxin Tianyan, so in the future, you will need to integrate other holy flames into it. I am afraid that the power will be shocking enough. The Lord of Soul Eater is quite said enviously. Teacher, in my domain, in addition to the source power of Huoxin Tianyan, it seems that there are other powers. After a while, Xiaoyan checked and found that there were other powers in this domain. What power? The Soul Eater asked. The power of love. After the breath, Xiao waved his hand, and suddenly a pink energy suddenly appeared in the domain, and looking at the appearance, this power of love has been controlled by Xiaoyan with ease. The power of Acacia is mysterious and unpredictable. What power it has, you still need to slowly discover it. But your domain is not only a fire domain, but also contains the power of lovesickness. Why don't you take the opportunity to give it a name? The Lord of Soul Eater smiled. The sacred flame space of Fireheart Tianyan is formed as a prototype, the power of love. Why don't you just call Acacia Flame Territory? After a while, Xiaoyan's palm gently touched the holy flame heart on his chest. When the name blurted out, the holy flame heart also burst out with a very happy emotion. Acacia Flame Domain. Acacia is accompanied, the realm of flames, not bad. In your field now, not only can you use the dazzling flames of Fireheart Tianyan and the manipulation of rocks, but in the future, it is estimated that you can also use the power of other holy flames by integrating other holy flames. The so-called realm is a single attribute and the use of power. This is the first time I have seen your realm. I don't know if it is a blessing or a curse. The Lord of Soul Eater said with mixed feelings. The joy is that Xiaoyan's power after the integration of Shengyan's power in the future is likely to be enough to reach the top of the Great Thousand World. The worry is that if Xiaoyan is captured by the enemy, once this sky-defying domain falls into the hands of others, then the consequences could be disastrous. Teacher, don't worry. The strength that I have cultivated will be used on the right path. Xiaoyan said softly, but his voice contained a touch of confidence that ordinary people could not describe. That's good. The Lord of Soul Eater grinned when he heard the words. In this way, it seems that I have found a treasure this time. Xiaoyan heard the words, and a smile slowly appeared on the corner of his mouth. He could not have imagined that this time, a half-field would be born by accident, and although this is only a half-field, it will be in the future. Combining many holy flames, I am afraid it will become a top-level field. When the field comes out, who will compete? Continuing from the previous episode 1586. Senior. Sensing the demon-like killing intent on the woman beside him, Xiaoyan's pressure increased sharply, and the dazzling holy flames flooded out to protect him, but it was a pity that in the face of the truly tyrannical 5-star fighting immortal holy flame guardian, Xiaoyan was still unable to resist. Sorry. After Shunshi, the woman turned her head and said to Xiaoyan, the dazzling killing intent also slowly dissipated, but her eyes softened, and she immediately looked at the stone statue man. His name is Fengmo, and my name is Yumu. The two of us were born in an ordinary continent. The mainland was born normally and stable. Although it was attacked by the evil tribes outside the territory, but with the power of holy flames, we have been defended many times, but one day, an uninvited strong man directly broke the peace. On that day, ghosts were everywhere, and the powerful force made us unable to resist. Even the master of our plane was instantly obliterated by it. Chi-Chi's novel was first published on the whole network. And by virtue of the power of the acacia tree and acacia bronchitis, although I was lucky enough to escape the pursuit, my husband was killed by his gangster, and the gangster also took advantage of the situation to steal the holy flame in the acacia tree, and acacia broken enteritis must be tempered by the acacia tree every once in a while, so the acacia tree was also transferred here. The soft voice contained the killing intent of the sky, which allowed Xiaoyan to be able to from the woman's words, I heard some other meanings. That person, I'm afraid it's the Lord of Li Soul. As the woman explained her past incessantly, Xiaoyan immediately spoke with empathy, and his voice was also filled with anger. Yes, it's the Lord of Li Soul. And my purpose this time is also to give you a power that is enough to conquer the holy flame, as long as you can avenge my husband. In an instant, the woman seemed to roar with a roar-like voice. The Lord of Li Soul is the Lord of a domain. His strength is already close to the peak of this world. Even me, there is no way to do it. Although Xiao Yan was quite enthusiastic about the power to subdue acacia-broken enteritis, but for a while don't dare to agree easily. After all, this kind of hot potato is extremely dangerous. What you said is not unreasonable, but I know that a human being can harbor two kinds of holy flames at the same time. The future achievements of this human being are naturally limitless. Even if it is gambling, I am willing to believe in you. After Shunshi, the woman slowly shook her head and said in a soft voice, "That would take a long time." Xiao Yan nodded. "But I've been waiting. Acacia and broken enteritis can't wait." After a while, the woman said in an unusually sharp voice, "What?" Xiao Yan heard the words and immediately noticed something, and couldn't help but say, "Do you know why the Lord of Li Sol secretly hides the supreme powers in the 7 realms to go hunting for acacia and broken enteritis?" the woman asked back. "I don't know," Xiao Yan said helplessly. "The ghost world creatures have only been able to swallow 2 holy flames since ancient times, but the ambition of the Master of the Soul is not small. The purpose of his establishment of the Soul Academy is to study and solve this problem. And not long ago, the top researchers in the Soul Academy who were responsible for studying this problem all fell. You must know that although their strength is not strong, they are surrounded by the protection of the 7-star fighting immortals. Being able to kill all the 7-star fighting immortals under the terrain in which the Soul Academy is in charge, with the help of the 7-star fighting immortals, I'm afraid there will be no one else except the Master of Li Sol territory." Qian Ying said slowly. "He found these guys with great effort. If he destroys them like this, I'm afraid it's tantamount to digging his own grave." "Wait, isn't it right? Is he killing people? Could it be that he has found a way for ghosts to devour holy flame?" At that time, Xiao Yan suddenly understood something. "Don't ask how I know that. I have a subtle connection with Schengen, and I can detect a lot of things, and these things were discovered not long ago, so I guess that the Lord of Li Sol may want to take this opportunity to swallow acacia broken enteritis." Qianying woman analyzed word by word. "Damn." Xiao Yan heard the words and clenched his fists heavily, and a heavy feeling emerged in his heart. Acacia broken enteric inflammation is one of the most reliable ways to revive Mu Yingying. If it doesn't work, I am afraid there are only the so-called angels in the great world, because they control the resurrection magic, but Xiao Yan doesn't believe that they will perform magic for an unrelated person. In this case, acacia broken enteritis is the top priority. If it is swallowed by the Lord of Li Sol, I am afraid that this time, there is really no hope of resurrection. I noticed that you have 2 holy flames on your body, and there seems to be a very weak other power, similar to holy flames but very different. Besides that, you have an extremely dazzling power of lovesickness. A large part of the power of lovesickness should come from this weak power of holy flame," said the woman in the shadow. "I came to the ghost world to find acacia broken enteric inflammation, because I want to revive my lover." Xiao Yan's face was calm, and he spoke slowly, but at this time, this man was a little stubborn, and some did not dare to recognize the reality. Xiao Yan seemed to have slowly accepted Mu Yingying's position in his heart. Acacia broken enteritis does have the magical effect of resurrection, but you can asterisk it from the Master of the Soul. Do you dare to accept such a terrifying deal? The beautiful woman smiled. "Dare?" Xiao Yan snorted coldly, his voice lingering like thunder for a long time. "This is the source flame of acacia flame. It can isolate the harm of acacia flame to you and make you close to acacia flame. But remember, it can only be used once." The flame slowly began to beat in his palm. Shoo. With this faint flame beating, the 2 holy flames in Xiao Yan's body suddenly burst into a burst of fear, obviously facing the acacia flame ranked as high as 15. Even a faint flame is fundamentally overpowering them. Fastest update of Chi fiction, thank you. A soft voice slowly emerged from Xiao Yan's mouth. Xiao Yan was able to find that this beautiful woman seemed to have spent a lot of energy in order to condense this trace of the source of holy flame, and immediately took out a large amount of medicinal pills to try to relieve it. "It's pressure. Don't bother, my strength is related to the acacia tree. I can't leave the acacia tree, and I can't go to seek revenge for the Lord of Li Sol in an upright manner. This time, the matter of revenge is up to you. And in the end, if you are lucky enough to get acacia flame, then it means that you have a relationship with it. You can use it to resurrect your lover." Seeing Xiao Yan's appearance, the beautiful girl smiled slowly, as if she saw her husband from this guy. General Mind. Go out. You have been in the acacia tree for 3 years, and it seems that something unfriendly to you has happened outside. After a while, the beautiful girl spoke up, and immediately melted. With a gentle force, Xiao Yan was slowly pushed out. Thank you, Senior. Seeing this, Xiao Yan clenched his fists, slightly bent his body, and gave him a big gift, and then slowly left the acacia tree. Wind. The fluctuations in this human being are very similar to the Holy King who appeared in the First World War. I hope this time, we did nothing wrong. As Xiao Yan disappeared, the beautiful woman suddenly murmured. At this point, the acacia matter is all over. Xiao Yan can be said to be the person who has gained the most, but at this time, the outside world has already exploded. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis. Continuing from the previous episode 1587. In the past 3 years, many things have happened in the outside world, and the sect competition is in full swing, but Xiao Yan has stayed in the inner space of the acacia tree for too long, so he did not catch up with the sect competition. Before the sect competition, Xiao Gui, the manager of Wanwo sect, settled the sect and took time to go back to the spiritual courtyard. In order to find Luo Menglin to expel the cold poison, the two decided to live privately for life. Unfortunately, Ling Yu knew about this. Later, when Xiao Gui returned to the 10,000 Fire sect, he was plotted to cause his internal injuries to be even more serious. After the sect competition, because Xiao Yan did not come, he insisted on going on stage. It's a pity that Ling Yu was secretly blocking it. The Wanwo sect was completely defeated, and even Xiao Gui was defeated by the managers in Qingyun Pavilion. The door is closed, and the figure of Xiao Gui who has been working hard all day has faded out of everyone's sight, and I don't know why. Even for this reason, Luo Menglin repeatedly asked for help from Headmaster Luo to find Xiao Gui, but was rejected by Headmaster Luo. It seemed that this time Xiao Gui had provoked some extremely terrifying beings. Even Headmaster Luo had lingering fears. Hey, give me some energy. This place is now the territory of our Tingfeng Pavilion. In a crystal vein, a man wearing the word Tingfeng is constantly vigilant. Most of these guards are guards who have been captured by Tingfeng Pavilion. Who are you? Suddenly, a man with a heavy ruler came here quietly and asked the guard in charge of patrolling. Humph. Where did your excellency come from, or where do you go back? This is the territory of our Tingfeng Pavilion. The leading guard said very proudly. Oh, isn't this the territory of 10,000 Fire sect? When did you become the territory of Tingfeng Pavilion? Hearing the words, the heavy ruler man's eyes were filled with doubts. Wanhuo sect? They are now unable to protect themselves, and there is still time to take care of this crystal vein. The leading guard said with disdain. Wanhuo sect. What happened? After Shunqi, the heavy-footed man asked nervously. The heavy-footed man was Xiao Yan. He had just left the acacia tree when he came to the crystal vein. After all, it was quite close to the acacia tree. You don't need to know so much, hurry up, or the young master will ask you to take it easy. The leading guard snorted coldly. What happened to Myriad Fire sect? A voice rang out, but with the sound's lovesickness, the void beside the leading guard was instantly evaporated by a flame, and Xiao Yan's pupils also became hideous. Get up, very scary. Big. Lord. The 10,000 Fire sect was secretly poisoned by the Qingyun Pavilion powerhouse, and the sect powerhouse was killed and injured, and now it is in danger. Seeing this, the guards couldn't help but feel a trace of fear in their hearts. Where are the sect master of 10,000 Fire sect and that manager Xiao Gui? Xiao Yan suppressed the anger in his heart, and said in the open mouth. The 3-year sect competition has been over for several months, and the manager Xiao Gui has not appeared since the sect competition was seriously injured by the manager of Qingyun Pavilion. It is said that he is retreating to recover. The sect master of Wanwo sect and some strong people have also been wiped out by Qingyun Pavilion, but relying on the sect to stick to the last bit of territory. The guard said with a trembling voice, and the young man in front of him shot such a thunderous method. I knew that I was in danger now. Crack! With a sound, the Yiwo Hengu ruler with a scorching fire wave easily slid across the throat of the only guard, and suddenly, with the super high temperature, this guy was instantly evaporated into nothingness. Qingyun Pavilion. Xiao Yan roared with rage after the leading guard was dealt with. With his soul power, he could not detect Xiao Gui's power, and he was even less aware of the position of his soul clone Xiao Lei. It was as if it had been suppressed by a seal. Who dare to break into the territory of our Tingfeng Pavilion? After a while, a young man also slowly paced out. This guy is impressively the manager of Tingfeng Pavilion, Yang Shi, who has the strength of the 4-star Do Xian in the early stage. The sect competition is over, and the outstanding managers have been transferred to the underground courtyard. Unfortunately, a strong person like Yang Shi is destined to only accumulate merits in the sect, and can enter the underground courtyard only by chance. Yang Shi, you colluded with Qingyun Pavilion to deal with our myriad fire sect like this. For the hatred between us, let's charge some interest from you first. Xiao Yan roared with anger in his eyes, like a violent soul beast. I know that the current situation of Wan Hozheng is inseparable from the guy in front of him. Xiao Yan, you are not dead? How is it possible? Didn't the guys from Qingyun Pavilion say that you have fallen into the acacia tree? Damn it. Seeing this, Yang Shi felt a trace of fear in his heart. Suffered to death. Seeing this, Xiao Yan was too lazy to talk nonsense with this guy. Not good. Seeing the dazzling flames emerging from Xiao Yan's body, Yang Shi immediately felt a very solemn feeling of heaviness. This kind of oppression was too tyrannical. 4-star Do Xian early stage? How is that possible? The next moment, Yang Shi lost his voice when he looked at Xiao Yan, who was bathed in the flames of the fiery red great celestial seed. Flame whip. Suddenly, a cold snort appeared, and the dazzling flame immediately turned into a huge flame whip, with dazzling attack power, attacking Yang Shi. Following Xiao Yan's trip to the acacia tree, Xiao Yan's power has reached the initial stage of the 4-star fighting immortal, and he has a new understanding of the use of flames. Shabu Shabu. Yang Shi naturally knew that he was not Xiao Yan's opponent, and immediately turned into a breeze and tried to escape from here. Acacia flame territory, where are you running? With a roar, the crystal vein within a few thousand meters suddenly turned into a field space wrapped in khaki and pink, and when the realm appeared, all the energies of heaven and earth in this space, Yang Shi lost his dominance and became like a lamb to be slaughtered. This is a half-field, impossible. At this time, Yang Shi finally realized the fluctuation of death. I'll give you one last chance. Where is Xiao Gui now? Xiao Yan stood in the acacia flame domain. He was the king of the domain, and he was invincible. Ha ha ha. Xiao Gui is now worse than death. Even if I die today, the two of you will come down to accompany me soon. As for the reason, you shouldn't provoke Qingyun Pavilion, because behind Qingyun Pavilion, there are strong people in the courtyard. In such a situation, Yang Shi burst into laughter, and immediately the Do Qi all over his body suddenly compressed, and he wanted to explode himself. Die. With an order, the bright khaki flames directly engulfed Yang Zai's body, and after a while, not even the ashes were left. Yang Shi, who was as tyrannical as the 4-star Do Xian in the early stage, fell into Xiao Yan's hands in the blink of an eye. Now Xiao Yan's fighting power can only be described by the word pervert. Qingyun Pavilion. This time, you will pay the price for your actions. Xiao Yan's voice was long and long, but it contained an extremely hurtful killing intent. Continuing from the previous episode 1588. Let's all die. With the fall of the strong man stationed in the crystal vein, Xiao Yan took back the domain, and the dazzling flames swept away, attacking many guards frantically. Most of the crystal veins guarding this place are only 2-star fighting immortals or even 3-star fighting immortals. Therefore, being attacked by such a dazzling flame of Xiao Yan is like a bereaved dog facing death for a while. My lord, wait. In this crystal vein, the second elder of the 10,000 fire sect is still imprisoned. The subordinates can take the adults to the prison. I hope the adults will show mercy, because the guards here are forced to do so. After Shunshi, an identity the not low chief guard hurried out to stop Xiao Yan's actions. These people are not the staff of Tingfeng Pavilion, but they were forced by Tingfeng Pavilion to come here to guard the crystal vein, so they can only comply with the requirements of Tingfeng Pavilion. Now that Xiao Yan is returning from the fight, he is naturally willing to serve Xiao Yan. Xiao Yaozi in our own central territory is also forced to be helpless now. If the adults are willing, we are willing to swear by our souls to be loyal to the adults. While taking Xiao Yan towards the cave, he said respectfully, Okay. Hearing this, Xiao Yan agreed immediately. After all, such things as soul swearing are quite dangerous. Once they are attacked, the consequences will be unimaginable. Although these guys are not strong, if they are loyal, add Xiao Yan's medicine pill. Auxiliary can also become a group of potential stocks in the 10,000 Fire sect in the future. Sir, it's here. After a while, the two came to a rather hidden dungeon underground. The *** of Tingfeng Pavilion, when Lord Xiao Yan is out of the gate, you will naturally have good fruits to eat. A roar emerged from the cage shrouded in darkness. Second Elder, it's me, Xiao Yan. Xiao Yan heard the words and said immediately, but after hearing this voice, a burst of relief appeared in his heart. In addition, Xiao Lei was also on the Second Elder. Lord Xiao Yan, you are back. Hearing this familiar voice, the Second Elder couldn't help but burst into tears and hurriedly spoke. Second Elder, what happened? When I left, I didn't give you the secret weapon. Even if the strong attacked, I'm afraid it wouldn't look like this. How could this be? Xiao Yan easily destroyed the seemingly solid dungeon prison column while supporting the Second Elder asked while asking. It's just that these two elders now have large and small scars on their bodies, and the aura on their bodies is extremely weak. Obviously, he has not had an easy time during this time. Lord Xiao Yan, that's a long story. The power that your lord gave me is enough to resist some late-stage 4-star fighting immortal powerhouses, but one day, it was sealed by a late-stage 4-star fighting immortal powerhouse. The powerhouse in the late stage of the 4-star Do Xian was extremely tyrannical, unlike Qing Yunkin, but he was even more tyrannical, and with the seal of that power, our crystal veins were completely defeated, except for me, including 3 elder, the whole army is annihilated. Afterwards, during the sect competition, Lord Xiao Gui was seriously injured by the manager of the Qingyun Pavilion. Then our sect took the seriously injured Lord Xiao Gui back to the sect, and was ambushed on the way, Lord Xiao Gui. I don't know what happened. Trace. And the guys who ambushed us, all of them have extraordinary strength, and it seems that they are deliberately going towards Lord Xiao Gui. A trembling voice sounded slowly. Second Elder, it's hard for you. I want to know about Xiao Gui's life and death, and some of the aura of that mysterious powerhouse. Xiao Yan heard the words. His originally calm face slowly turned hideous, but his eyes turned red involuntarily, and even that was hidden by Xiao Yan. The blood of the Xiao family in the deepest part of the body also became turbulent at this time. Before Mr. Xiao Gui was arrested, he told us to guard the sect's territory and wait for his return. As for the life and death of Mr. Xiao Gui, the subordinates dared to conclude that the adults should be fine. After all, those mysterious powerhouses arrested Xiao. The ghost is also extremely careful, not hurting the adults. It seems to have other plans. The Second Elder looked at Xiao Yan's appearance and said cautiously. However, the subordinates saw the Qingyun token from the hands of the mysterious people. This kind of token is owned by the pavilion master. Once the token is issued, there are some very special things, but I don't know that it is a mysterious power. What the author deliberately let me see was by chance. After a while, the Second Elder slowly spoke. Qingyun Pavilion. Xiao Yan heard the words, his breathing became solemn, and countless blue veins burst out on his arms, which was quite terrifying, and a dazzling killing intent suddenly emerged from his body. Second Elder, let's give up this crystal vein first, and we will set off immediately to return to Wanwo sect. This time, I will definitely make Qingyun Pavilion pay the price. Xiao Yan's voice instantly turned into a demon-like murderous aura, even without any sense of reason. Xiao Gui has the blood of their Xiao family. No matter what, Xiao Yan will stand up for him, even if it is to anger the entire Earth Spirit Academy for Xiao Gui. But my lord, the manager of Qingyun Pavilion has already entered the underground courtyard because of his outstanding performance in the Zongmen competition, and now in the Qingyun Pavilion, there are 2 strong people in the late stage of 4-star Do Xian, one bright and one dark. The Second Elder saw although he is extremely worried about Xiao Gui's safety, he is vigilant. After all, the current strength of the sects has been lost. For them, the Qingyun Pavilion is like a giant Buddha that cannot be resisted. Link to www.novelmtl.com. I don't care whether he is a 4-star fighting immortal in the late stage or a 4-star fighting immortal consummation, since the 10,000 Fire sect and Xiao Gui have been moved, then this time, their Qingyun Pavilion must be destroyed. A suffocating aura emerged, filling the dungeon with an extremely ** smell. This is the strength of the 4-star Do Xian early stage. Seeing Xiao Yan so angry, the second elder couldn't help but lose his voice. Sir, this is the mysterious power you gave me, but unfortunately it was sealed by the mysterious powerhouse. After a while, a light group with a faint thunder beam slowly appeared from the hands of the second elder, but the light group was surrounded by it was filled with an evil black aura. Crack! With a sound, Xiao Yan's palm in a violent state was wrapped in dazzling fiery red flames, and easily crushed the black pattern surrounding the thunderbolt. Crash! With a sound, the thunderbolt light group returned to Xiao Yan's soul realm. Xiao Gui was seriously injured by the manager of Qingyun Pavilion, and then was ordered by Your Excellency Qingyun to arrest others. The reason is that Xiao Gui and Luo Menglin, who had been married long ago, have privately agreed for life. Xiao Lei had just returned to Xiao Yan's body. Suddenly, more detailed information rushed into Xiao Yan's heart like a tide. Let's go. Go back to the Wanwo sect first, and when the sect things settle down, the Qingyun Pavilion must be destroyed. The soft voice was full of shocking killing intent. Continuing from the previous episode 1589. Inside the sect on the top of the cliff of Wanwozong. Sect Master, something is bad. Tingfeng Pavilion, I don't know where the 2 more 4-star Do Xian mid-stage powerhouses came from. Now that the soldiers are under the city, all the guards in our flame furnace cliff have been breached by them. I'm afraid that the cliff top will only be lost sooner or later. I also asked the sect master to make a decision early so that we can advance and retreat. In the sect hall, Huo Lao Huo hurriedly broke into the door. He was covered in dust. He had just returned from the front line, experienced many fierce battles. Since the original sect competition, their sect has been severely damaged by other forces, and then the disappearance of Xiao Gui has become a rather attractive piece of fat, like a mouse crossing the street. Everyone shouts and beats. Among them Tingfeng Pavilion is the most. It is outstanding. After all, if the territory of the 10,000 Fire Sect is captured, then it is tantamount to strengthening the strength of their respective forces, so the situation of the 10,000 Fire Sect is quite unfavorable. His grandmothers. It's really a tiger falling and Pingyang being bullied by a dog. How much fighting strength does our sect still have? Sect Master Woyi sat in the first place, suddenly got up and shouted, and immediately cast his eyes on an old man with a weak breath in the hall. In the face of the current situation, Huo Yi and even the entire sect did not retreat at all, and did not hesitate to fight to the last soldier. Sect Master, the combat power of our sect. There are less than 100 2-star fighting immortals, less than 23-star fighting immortals, and only 2 strong 4-star fighting immortals. With the addition of you, Sect Master, no matter what, it can't resist the fighting strength of the 3 terrifying 4-star Do Xian mid-stage powerhouses in Tingfeng Pavilion. I also ask the Sect Master to lead the remnants of the sect to retreat and retain their strength. When Lord Xiao Yan comes back, he will definitely be able to make a comeback. Huiyan opened his mouth slowly, and there was a hint of pleading in his voice. Obviously, the core high-level people who were present already had the consciousness of seeing death as home. It has been a few months since the sect competition and Xiao Gui disappeared. Even if their sect resisted many strong men who tried to erode their sect due to the danger of their sect, they also suffered heavy losses. Among them, these leaders, the body is even more scarred, and if it wasn't for the last trace of obsession, I'm afraid it would have completely fallen. Elder, since we promised Lord Xiao Yan, we naturally can't break our promise, not to mention that we haven't protected Lord Xiao Gui. We are guilty. We have no face-to-face Lord Xiao Yan. So no matter what, we will not retreat, we will guard the last paradise. Huo Yi suddenly became vicissitudes and shook his head slowly. Today's 10,000 Fire Sect is tyrannical countless times compared to before. These effects are almost attributed to Xiao Gui, and now that the sect is facing death, it is naturally quite helpless. But if our sect was destroyed in the hands of Tingfeng Pavilion, wouldn't it have failed the hard work of the 2 adults, Xiao Yan? Huiyan couldn't help but said, "Don't hesitate to fight to the last soldier." Huo Yi's eyes became turbulent, and an extremely bright fighting spirit suddenly burst out. "Oh, Sir Xiao Yan doesn't know if he has come out of the acacia tree, but this situation is really..." As soon as the words fell, the place returned to calm, but they all knew that this time, I am afraid it is really time to break the boat and sink the boat. If they win, then everyone will be happy. If they lose, then their myriad fire sect will also fall completely, but they want to use their remaining strength to defeat the 3 4-star middle stage powerhouses in the Tingfeng Pavilion. This is easier said than done. Flame Furnace Cliff outside the sect. Hey, Pavilion Master, now the 10,000 fire sect is already unable to protect itself. As long as you listen to the Wind Pavilion to annex them, your power will definitely increase greatly. Under the flames of the furnace, there are already corpses everywhere. The blood flowed into a river. Apparently after months of fighting, the appearance of this place has changed, and one of the middle-aged men with full muscles sneered. This time, I would like to thank the 2 powerhouses for their help. After the matter is completed, we will not treat the 2 adults badly. The Pavilion Master of the Tingfeng Pavilion said with joy, after all, if it wasn't for the 2 of them appeared, I am afraid that with the power of their Tingfeng Pavilion, Guangguang can't cope with the myriad fire sect who is ready to sink the boat. The Pavilion Master does not need to be polite, we are also acting according to orders. The 2 men are tall and shrewd, and the other is shrewd and rather thin, but the combat power of the 2 is unquestionably tyrannical. Let's go. On the top of this cliff is the remnant of the Wanwo sect. After Shunshi, the 3 people present stepped into the cliff that entered the top of the cliff and tried to go towards the top of the cliff, although it was only a matter of time. The 3 powerhouses, but the strength of the 3, is the real 4-star middle stage of Do Xian, and this level of powerhouse is tantamount to a disaster for today's 10,000 fire sect. With the departure of the 3 powerhouses, the green flames in this flaming furnace cliff slowly disappeared, and even this space was filled with a sense of silence. Boom! Immediately, a hot wave of fire suddenly spread out, and immediately ignited the countless cliff tops of the flame furnace cliff where the blue flames were extinguished. Wait, it seems that some interesting little bugs have slipped in, and when the 3 figures were just about to step into the center, the burly man stared at the cliff thousands of meters away behind him. Go! Chuo Xin Shan Mao Chi Chi Novel Wang. WW there. A scorching red flame, like a volcano, slanted down, instantly rendering the sky into a fiery red, endless dangerous atmosphere, slowly paving the way. Who is this? The power of tyrannical flames. This power is comparable to some fire attribute powerhouses at the mid-level of the 4-star fighting immortal. After a while, the blurred figure continued to enlarge in the pupils of the master of the Tingfeng Pavilion. It muttered, "The aura on this guy seems a bit like the guy we're looking for. It just so happens that the Lord has something to do with him, so the 2 of us will serve him and take him back." After a while, the 2 of them laughed strangely, and a frenzy appeared on the corners of their mouths. The 2 of them were naturally Ling Yu. Vassal, these actions are naturally also Ling Yu's instigation. Xiao Yan is the enemy wanted by the Lord. If the 2 of them can arrest him, the reward that the Lord gave them would be enough to make them really jealous. Boy, Hefang Xiao Xiao, register your name. After a while, the burly man stepped forward directly, and a strong breath suddenly emerged. 3 4-star Do Xian mid-stage powerhouses, and this guy is still of the earth attribute. But this time, since it's here, let's stay here forever. Xiao Yan's whole body was covered with fiery red flames, like a fire god. The dry heat in Furnace Cliff was rendered to the extreme, for nothing else, just because these 2 guys had the same breath as Qing Yunken. The fastest update of Chi Chi novel.